Your doctor looked at your LDL number last year and said borderline or maybe even high. And somewhere between that appointment and today, nothing actually changed. Not because you did not want it to, because nobody told you the real mechanism. LDL does not announce itself. It does not give you chest pain at the first warning sign. It deposits silently inside your arterial walls for years before a scan catches it. And by the time it does, the damage has already been building for a long time. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tracking over 60,000 adults found that dietary pattern changes targeting LDL specifically produced reductions of 20 to 30 points in under 90 days without a single prescription. That is not a fringe finding. That is controlled, replicated data. Dr. Queen has been practicing cardiology for 19 years, and what frustrates her most is not patients who ignore advice. It is patients who follow the wrong advice perfectly and wonder why their numbers do not move. Today, she is walking you through the exact protocol she gives her own patients, and she is also going to name 2 supplements that are sold as natural cholesterol solutions that you need to stop taking immediately. One of them contains a toxin with documented kidney damage. The other has been linked to liver failure. Both are in thousands of medicine cabinets right now. Stay with this until the end. The first thing to understand is that LDL elevation is almost never a cholesterol production problem. It is a cholesterol clearance problem. Your liver has receptors that pull LDL out of your bloodstream and break it down. When those receptors are working efficiently, LDL drops. When they are suppressed, LDL accumulates. Everything in this protocol works through that single mechanism. You are not fighting cholesterol. You are restoring your liver's ability to clear it. The single most powerful dietary lever you have is the type of fat in your diet, not the amount of fat. Saturated fat, the kind found in butter, coconut oil, and fatty red meat, directly downregulates LDL receptors on your liver cells. Fewer receptors means less clearance, which means higher circulating LDL. Polyunsaturated fat does the opposite. Omega-3 and omega-6 fats from sources like salmon, walnuts, and flaxseed actively upregulate those same receptors. The fix here is not to eat less fat. It is to upgrade the fat you are already eating. Replace butter with extra virgin olive oil for cooking and daily use. Add a 30-gram handful of walnuts every day. Get fatty fish on your plate twice a week. Sardines and mackerel are just as effective as salmon and considerably cheaper. Most people who make only this single swap see a measurable shift in their next panel within 6 to 8 weeks. The science behind this is not new. The reason more doctors do not lead with it in appointments is not complicated. A conversation about olive oil takes longer than writing a prescription. Now here is one that almost nobody connects to their cholesterol numbers, and it is sitting on your kitchen counter right now. French press coffee, espresso, and Turkish coffee all contain a compound called cafestol. It is a natural oil in coffee beans, and it has one specific effect on your liver. It suppresses LDL receptor activity. Research comparing brewing methods has found that unfiltered coffee can raise LDL by 10 to 25 points, depending on consumption volume and individual metabolism. A paper filter traps cafestol before it enters your cup. Drip coffee through a paper filter, pour over through a paper filter, both are effectively cafestol-free. The entire intervention is one paper filter. One of Dr. Queen's patients switched only this, kept every other habit identical, and came back 8 weeks later 9 points lower on LDL. No diet change, no supplements, one filter. The reason this matters so much is that it is a hidden daily driver that completely cancels out other efforts. You can add walnuts and olive oil and salmon and still see minimal movement if you are drinking 2 cups of French press every morning. The next mechanism runs through your digestive system, and it is genuinely one of the most powerful levers available. Your liver produces bile acids from cholesterol. Those bile acids travel into your gut to help digest fat, and under normal circumstances, about 95% of them get reabsorbed and recycled back to the liver. Soluble fiber interrupts that recycling loop. It forms a viscous gel in your gut that physically binds to bile acids and carries them out of your body. Your liver then has to pull more cholesterol from your bloodstream to manufacture replacement bile acids. LDL drops as a direct consequence. The FDA has approved the specific health claim for beta-glucan, the soluble fiber in oats, because the evidence for LDL reduction met their evidentiary standard, which is a high bar. Research puts the effective threshold at 7 to 10 grams of soluble fiber per day. Below that, effects are modest. At that level, most individuals see reliable reductions of 5 to 10%. Rolled oats every morning gives you 3 to 4 grams per serving. 2 tablespoons of chia seeds adds another 5 grams. A half cup of cooked lentils adds 2 to 3 more. You can hit the effective threshold by noon without any supplements. If you consistently fall short through food, psyllium husk stirred into water once a day is clinically validated and costs almost nothing. Now, before the supplement warning, there is one more dietary pattern that accelerates everything discussed so far. Your gut microbiome contains bacterial strains that produce enzymes capable of breaking down bile acids in the gut, preventing their reabsorption and forcing your liver to draw more cholesterol from circulation. This is the same downstream effect as soluble fiber through a completely different mechanism, which means they compound each other. Fermented foods support the bacterial populations responsible for this effect. One small serving of plain kefir, kimchi, or miso per day does more for your cholesterol metabolism over 60 to 90 days than almost any supplement on the market. Building gut microbiome diversity through food takes time, but the compounding effect is real and documented. Think of it as long-term infrastructure, not a quick fix. Now, the 2 supplements. Pay close attention here because this information directly protects you. Red yeast rice is enormously popular in the natural health space because it genuinely does lower LDL. It works because it contains a compound called monocolin K, which is chemically identical to lovastatin, a prescription statin drug. When you take red yeast rice, you are taking an unregulated statin. Here is the serious problem. The fermentation process that produces red yeast rice can also produce a contaminant called citrinin, a mycotoxin with documented kidney toxicity. Independent testing of commercial red yeast rice products has found citrinin contamination across a significant proportion of brands on the market. The contamination level varies unpredictably from batch to batch. There is no regulatory oversight controlling dose consistency. There is no mandatory purity standard. The people who use this supplement are often doing so because they want to avoid the perceived risk of pharmaceutical statins. But without standardized manufacturing, they are actually accepting more uncertainty and more risk, not less. If your LDL is elevated enough to require statin-level intervention, that conversation belongs with your doctor and a regulated, controlled dose prescription, not a product with no dosage guarantee. The second supplement is concentrated green tea extract in capsule form. Drinking green tea is genuinely beneficial and carries no meaningful risk for most people. 3 to 4 cups a day has solid evidence for modest LDL reduction and other cardiovascular benefits. Capsule supplements containing concentrated green tea extract are a different matter entirely. There are documented cases of serious liver injury, including cases requiring liver transplantation, associated with high-dose green tea extract supplements. Both the FDA and the European Food Safety Authority have issued formal public warnings on this specific issue. The proposed mechanism involves concentration. A cup of brewed green tea delivers a certain amount of EGCG naturally diluted through the preparation process. A capsule delivering the equivalent of 40 or 50 cups can overwhelm hepatic processing capacity in susceptible individuals, and susceptibility cannot reliably be predicted in advance. Drink the tea freely. Avoid the concentrated capsule form. Natural and safe are not the same thing. And in this case, the difference between a cup of tea and a high-dose capsule is the difference between a beneficial habit and a documented source of organ damage. Here is the complete protocol Dr. Queen recommends for the next 90 days. Replace butter with extra virgin olive oil as your default fat. Every use, every meal. Add a 30-gram handful of walnuts daily. Eat fatty fish twice a week. Switch to paper filter coffee immediately. Today, not eventually. Build to 7 to 10 grams of soluble fiber per day, starting with rolled oats in the morning. Add 1 fermented food serving per day, kefir, kimchi, miso, your preference. Drop red yeast rice and concentrated green tea extract supplements if either is in your cabinet. In 2 weeks, you will likely notice your morning energy is more stable, which reflects early improvements in how your body is managing circulating lipids. By week 6, most people following this complete protocol see measurable LDL movement. By 90 days, if you also walk 30 minutes most days and do 2 resistance sessions per week, the combination of dietary pattern change, bile acid disruption, microbiome support, and improved insulin sensitivity produces the kind of panel results that make doctors ask what you have been doing. The most common failure point Dr. Queen sees is people making 1 or 2 changes rather than all of them together. Each strategy works through a different mechanism. The compounding effect when you stack all of them simultaneously is why this protocol produces 20 to 30-point drops when isolated changes produce 5. The biology does not care how many interventions you are running at once. It responds to all of them simultaneously. Your next blood panel is either going to reflect 90 days of the same habits or 90 days of a different set. The mechanisms that lower LDL work the same in every body. The only variable is whether you give them consistent input to work with. Subscribe so you have this information before your next appointment, not after it.